Okay. All right, so here for letter C, we have x times the inverse of sine, okay? So this x here is the ratio that goes with it, okay? Plus the square root of 1 minus x squared, okay? So we have two terms here. We have two terms. I got this guy here, and then I have this guy here with an addition in the middle. So I'm going to find the derivative of the first red stuff and then the derivative of the second red stuff. Okay, so the first red stuff, what am I going to use? Not chain rule, you're close. You're close, don't you? Product rule, yeah. Product rule, because this is multiplication right here. Yeah, it's multiplication here. And like I said, I know that power right there kind of looks like it's a -1 and we do power rule. It's not, it's just a notation. It's like I said, I don't really like that notation, but it's the notation they use. So don't let that kind of get into your thought process of what you're going to do next. Okay, so this first guy here. So let's go. So product rule says the first one times the derivative of the second one. Okay, so the derivative of inverse sine, well, it's going to have a u prime on top, right? And what's our u for this guy here? X, yeah, x. So the derivative of x is just 1. And on the bottom, it's going to have a square root, because the only ones that don't have square roots are tangent and cotangent. And it's going to be 1 minus u squared. Okay, done with that derivative. Plus the derivative of x, which is just 1, times the second. Okay. So this is the derivative of the first first grouping there. Now the second. How am I going to find the derivative of this guy here now? Turn the radical into a power. That's my first step. Yep. Let's do that. So it's 1/2. And then I'm going to use chain rule. Good. Chain rule. Okay, so this is 1/2. 1 minus x squared, subtract 1, so it makes -1. And then chain on the derivative of that, which is -2x. Okay, so calculus is done. Now let's kind of clean it up to make it look as presentable as possible. So this part here, I'm going to multiply this times this. So I'm going to get x over square root 1 minus x squared. I don't need the parentheses anymore because it's just x, plus sine of x, or inverse sine of x. And then I have a plus here. And then I'm going to have a fraction because I have a negative exponent here. Okay, so I have a fraction here. Oops. Okay. So the square root of 1 minus x squared is going to go down there. That's because of this part here. That's a negative square root, right? And then I have a 1/2 times a -2x. Well, the 2's are going to cancel out. That leaves a -1 over here and a +1 over here. So on top, you're just going to have a negative 1x or a negative x. Does anyone see anything? So look at what we have. We have right here. This is what we got so far right here. Does anyone see it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can, right? Which ones can I combine, Roman? And then this last term here, right? The first term and the last term, I can. Yeah, how did you notice that? That's a good, that's there's a lot going on there. So what made you think of that? There you go, right? Fractions that have like denominators, we can easily combine. We don't have to do anything, okay? So what happens when we combine this guy with this guy? Something unusual is gonna happen. Yeah, they're gonna just cancel each other out. They're gonna make 0. Why are they gonna make 0? Yeah, yeah. Because right when we're combining, when we're adding fractions, the bottom stays the same, right? We don't touch the bottom. The bottom stays the same as long as they're common, as long as they're the same, stays the same. We just add the tops. Well, if I add x and negative x, makes 0. And 0 over anything is just 0. So the only thing left is the inverse sine of x. Okay, or arc sine of x. Okay. Now, if that didn't happen, I would have combined these. I would have combined these two here because they have common denominators, and then I would have stopped. I wouldn't have gone any further. But like I said, again, it just depends on, if it's a free response question, I would have stopped there. If it's a multiple choice question, you just stop whenever you find an answer you like. Okay, if that matches, stop, done. Okay, so it just depends on what that was. But if those don't cancel out, I would have definitely have done that because they have common denominators. If they have common denominators, why not? And they just happen to cancel out on this one. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to skip this arc secant 1 because it's kind of review of what we did before. I want you to look at this one here. It's an extra one that I added. It's not on your notes. So I want you to write this one down. You got some blank space on the back. There's a couple problems similar to what we've been doing, but they want you to evaluate at a point. Okay, so I'll let you write that one down. Okay, so as you're writing it down, think of the steps you're going to do. If you know the steps, like I said, anytime you're taking notes in this class, if you know what you're going to do it. Don't listen to me. Okay. See, what a lot of times what happens is you guys know what you're doing, but you just kind of wait for me and you're like, oh, okay, I got to write that down. If you don't wait for me, do it, because that shows you're starting to get it, right? If you just wait for me to do it, then you're not really giving yourself the opportunity to get it. So even if you haven't written anything down, in your mind, you should be thinking, what are we going to do? What's the next step? What is this question asking? I haven't done anything yet, right? You just wrote down the question. What is this question asking? How is it different than or is it different than what we've done in the past? What's the first thing I need to do here? Find the derivative of negative sign. Inverse sign, yep. We got to find the derivative. This is what we need to do, right? And to do that, I need to find the derivative first. So I got to find the derivative of this guy here. So the derivative of inverse sine, this is just regular inverse sine, right? U is just x, kind of like the one we just had, right? So it's going to be 1 over 1 minus x squared, square root. Done. Derivative is done. Okay. And then what do I have to do then? They want it at square root of 3 over 2, right? That's the ratio. So they want us to find ratio at root 3 over 2. So I'm going to plug that in now. Okay, so we get a 1 on top. Now 1, so when I reduce this guy right here, the root 3 2 squared, right? I square the top and I square the bottom. 3 over. Okay.